When I got to the word deserve, I got stuck. I couldn't write it. I just couldn't. Let me back up. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Trainer's Wife. Before we jump into today's solo episode, I want to briefly highlight our most recent interview. On Sunday, January 11th, I shared a conversation with Jessica Draper, the wife of a U.S. Army Green Beret who has benefited from the War Horses for Veterans program. It's a little different from the typical trainer's wife story, but it offers a perspective we don't often hear. That of a military wife navigating sacrifice, strength, and support in a very real way. I hope you'll take time to listen to Jessica's story, and if you feel moved to do so, consider supporting War Horses for Veterans as they empower warriors to heal, reconnect, and lead on the ranch, at home, and beyond. I also want to thank you for listening to Choosing Permission, which was episode 1 of this miniseries. If you haven't heard it yet, I encourage you to take the 15 minutes when you can. That said, today's episode can absolutely stand on its own, so you won't be lost if you're starting here with episode 2, Lowering Your Shield. In episode 1, I talked about resilience and permission, and how many of us are very practiced at enduring, but not very practiced at asking for what we're allowed to want. Today, I want to tell you about what came up for me after that realization, because something interesting happened. I was reading a book called Jump and Find Joy by Hoda Kotb. Remember her? She used to anchor the Today Show for NBC. It's a book about taking leaps of faith, not all at once and not recklessly, but sometimes in different seasons of life. And in one section, she quoted Louise Hay. Ask for what you want, believe that you deserve it, and then allow life to give it to you. I remember thinking, wow, that's pretty good. So I decided to try it. I got my journal and I started writing down what I want. I wrote, I want to put on women's retreats that are wildly successful and fulfilling. I want them to be not only meaningful to the women who attend, but to me as well. I want them to fill that place in me that has been missing, that special something that I've never quite been able to fill because I deserve. Huh. When I got to the word deserve, I got stuck and I stopped writing. I just couldn't write anymore. The quote says, believe that you deserve it. But I couldn't write it. And that moment surprised me because I didn't feel blocked. I didn't feel negative. I didn't feel afraid. In fact, I knew exactly what I wanted to write. If anything, I questioned why I deserved. A very incomplete thought in and of itself, but a very real one. As I began to work through that little hiccup, I started wondering how many of us do that? How often can we name what we want, but we hesitate when it comes time to let ourselves receive or deserve it? What I've noticed is that I'm very practiced at effort, and we talked about this concept in the Choosing Permission episode. I know how to work. I know how to push, I know how to endure, and I know how to build something from the ground all the way up. And I've been thinking about why that is. For me, I think part of it comes down to impatience. When I want something, I don't tend to sit around and wait for clarity to arrive. I don't wait for permission. I don't wait to see how it might unfold. I move. I do the hard thing. I work my tail off. I try to create the best possible outcome through effort alone. And honestly, there are benefits to that. Things get done, momentum builds, progress happens. But I'm starting to see another side of it. Sometimes that urgency isn't just about efficiency. Sometimes it's a way to avoid the vulnerability of waiting. Because waiting means I might not receive what I want, much less when I want it. And doing, working, pushing gives me a sense of control. If I'm the one making it happen, I don't have to sit with the uncertainty of whether something will come toward me on its own. Effort becomes a shield, not because I don't trust myself, but because receiving asks me to slow down and trust something I can't fully control. But receiving also feels different, maybe even a little bit icky. It's letting something come toward me, and it requires me to be seen. And for me, who are used to being strong, especially in a supporting role, that's pretty unfamiliar. This realization has been a little challenging for me so far, and every day I'm just practicing. I'm practicing trying to receive what I don't yet know about. I'm trying to give myself permission to give up a tiny bit of control and be grateful for the opportunity to receive the things I don't even know exist. And instead of trying to push past receiving, I'm staying curious. Rather than forcing myself to say, I deserve this, I've been experimenting with softer language. I went back to my journal and I wrote some new statements that felt not perfect, but less icky. Statements that honor growth. I can grow into someone who can receive things. I don't have to be perfect to build something meaningful. I can allow this to unfold without rushing the outcome. This verbiage doesn't demand certainty. It allows room to grow. These are seeds I'm planting in my brain, in my body, and in my being so that I can learn to accept or allow something good. This connects directly back to the idea of permission. For me, permission has to come before deserving. Permission to want something meaningful. Permission to not judge myself. Permission to ask for help. If you're listening and you've noticed yourself hesitating when something good shows up, an opportunity, someone to support you, rest, or even joy, I'm not asking you to push past it. Just notice it. Sometimes awareness is the actual work. And for me, that awareness is still unfolding. I don't have answers yet. I'm not trying to force a breakthrough. I'm just paying attention to where I rush, where I push, and where I struggle to let something good come toward me. And right now, that noticing feels like enough. I'm lowering my shield to let it come towards me. In the next episode, I want to talk about something related. How often we confuse growth with punishment, and why letting go of self-punishment doesn't mean letting ourselves off the hook. If this episode reminds you of someone who hesitates to receive the good things, be sure to share it with them. You never know how it might land. Until then, as we discussed in episode 1, write down what you want, take a walk, breathe, connect with someone. Before I go, one quick note. I'm not a therapist, a counselor, or a coach. I'm simply sharing my experience and what I am learning in real time. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in next time to The Trainer's Wife.